Okay, I'll call to order the Rolesville Board of Commissioners regular meeting, October 8th, 2024. Thanks everybody for coming. We've got a small crowd here and I know some people watching online, so thanks everybody for coming out tonight. We're going to start off with Pledge of Allegiance, and then we have invocations we done by Pastor Jason Byer from Lighthouse Baptist Church here in Rolesville. So welcome tonight. Appreciate it. Just come up to the mic if you would, and do the invocation after we do the pledge. Thank you very much. Everybody remain standing for the invocation too, if you would. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's pray. Our loving, gracious Heavenly Father, we do thank you again for your mercies and your grace, which are new every morning. We thank you for a beautiful day and safety and protection. We thank you for this town. Thank you for Mayor Curran and the commissioners. And Father, we pray that you would continue to just give them wisdom and direction in leading the government of this town. And I just pray that you'd help them. We thank you for our police department and their service, and help them to fulfill and be able to carry out their role of keeping law and order, that peace might reign in our town. And we just praise your protection upon them as well, and encourage them and meet their needs. And Father, for all those who serve in this town, we pray your blessing to be upon them. And Father, we just again thank you for your goodness to us. Thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy. Thank you for safety you've given us. And Lord, we pray for the victims of the hurricane, and we pray that you'd undertake and just give grace and strength and meet their needs. And we thank you, Father, for how people are helping, and just pray that that would continue and you would provide and just give each person what they need and just undertake. Thank you again for your goodness to us. We pray for your blessing in this meeting. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate that, and appreciate you thinking about all the hurricane victims. I know we got a lot of people who are suffering right now. Whether it's in North Carolina, Florida, South Carolina, many places is pretty widespread, especially in the mountain regions, and a lot of our towns is very disrupted from the storms. And I kind of hear that it's not over with. Florida's anticipating another one as we speak, so a really large one. So it's ongoing. So thanks for mentioning them in your prayer, and I hope the whole community, because we've been there. We've been through some hurricanes ourselves, and we've been there, and we know it's not a good time. So let's just keep them all in prayer. Boone, Asheville especially. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate that. Okay, we do have a couple of proclamations we're going to do tonight. One has to do with Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which we are amidst doing that. You see a lot of pink being worn from a lot of people in the community doing this month, and also the other one is a National Community Planning Month, which has to do with the planning group. And April is going to, Mayor Pro Tem April Sneed will read both of those for us tonight. So thank you for doing that.
All right, you're welcome. I am happy to read the Breast Cancer Awareness Month proclamation because I am a survivor of breast cancer. And so it's extremely important just to educate people on getting their mammograms, men and women. So I'm just thankful to be alive and well and cancer-free. So the proclamation of the town of Rolesville Breast Cancer Awareness Month, whereas in 2024, more than 12,700 women in North Carolina can expect to be diagnosed with breast cancer, and over 1,500 will likely die from this disease. And whereas North Carolina women have 1 in 8 lifetime risks of developing breast cancer, which is the second leading cause of cancer death for women overall in North Carolina, and which impacts Black women at a higher rate than white women. And whereas disparities such as income education, access to health care, along with stress and racism, are among causes of poor health among minorities and many other measures, leading to a greater need for screening and early detection of breast cancer. And whereas the North Carolina Breast and Cervical Cancer Control Program in the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services provides a free or low-cost breast and cervical cancer screenings and follow-up to eligible uninsured or underinsured women. And whereas with routine mammogram screening and follow-up testing, the disease can be detected early when it can be most effectively treated and save lives. And whereas being aware of the health information, education, treatment, and support methods available to help individuals find and receive the appropriate care and resources they need to improve the quality of life. Now therefore, be it resolved that the town of Rolesville does hereby proclaim October 2024 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in North Carolina and commend its observance to all of its citizens, adopted on this 8th day of October, 2024, by Mayor Ronnie Curran.
Thank you.
And the second one, our Community Planning Month proclamation. So I am proud to be the liaison with the Planning Board. So this is our, the proclamation reads, whereas change is consistent and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, communities, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places, and whereas planners can help navigate this change with data-driven insight and expertise that provide better choices for how people work and live, and whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community, and whereas the full benefits of planning require public elected and appointed officials who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan interpretation. And whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories. And whereas the American Planning Association endorses National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight how planning is essential to every community and how planners are uniquely positioned to identify solutions to communities' most difficult housing, transportation, and land use questions. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of appointed planning board members who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the town of Rolesville. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by the professional community and regional planners of the town of Rolesville and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now therefore be it resolved that the month of October 2024 is hereby designated as Community Planning Month in the town of Rolesville in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month. Adopted this 8th day of October 2024, signed by Mayor Ronnie Curran.
Thank you, April. Thanks for reading those, especially, you know, the proclamation on the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And that's what it's about, is awareness. This show for this month is coming up Thursday. I'm going to have Felicia Hatcher. She's a local person, has ties into the community. Some of y'all may know Felicia. Her sister died about 10 years ago from cancer, and she's worked ever since in trying to promote, especially this month, and doing fundraisers and stuff like that for prevention, but also for awareness, because it's a lot about awareness. So I know you know, we try to make awareness in changing out smoke detector batteries and stuff like that, and you know, this month, November, is awareness for breast cancer and awareness for you to get checkups. And if you got a loved one, it doesn't have to be you personally, but if you got a loved one, remind them, you know, remind everybody that this is the month for that. So thank you, April, appreciate that. Okay, moving on with the agenda, the next item is consideration for the approval of the agenda. So what's the pleasure of the board on the agenda?
So moved.
Got a motion to approve in a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Board. Appreciate that. And now consideration for approval of consent agenda. Now, there's a couple of items on the consent agenda. And naturally, you know, as always, the board has opportunity to pull any item if you prefer. We'll discuss in detail and vote on separately if you prefer to do that. So just let me know and we will do that for sure. But the items on the consent agenda, all of us are familiar with the minutes of September 17, 2024. Adoption of Campo MOU. It's pretty much of a formality thing. I know it's 2 new towns that joined the Campo. It's mentioned in this MOU, and also I think Chatham County is now part of Campo. So that's the main change there. Consent agenda for continued legislation hearing on School Street. It's a little piece of property there that has been moved to November the 5th. I think we also had a public hearing for that night too for not only annexation but the land use. Consent for approval of interim town managers, which is Christine, which is here tonight. I think you saw the letter from the town manager as recommendation for that. I concur that recommendation for town manager that made for interim clerk, Christine. So thank you, Christine. Then a consent for direct clerk to investigate the sufficiency of so-called legislative hearing on Forestville Road. This is about a 5-acre private property that has one large house on it, and they're asking for water and sewers consideration to have to be part of town. We have already annexed one out there several years ago. It's pretty close to this. In fact, this one is a little bit closer. So that's on the consent agenda. Adoption resolution accepting accessibility grant for Millbridge Nature Park Amphitheater. That's a grant, I think, of a couple $100,000, I think. And, you know, our biggest thing is, you know, the board needs to consent that before we move forward. And then lastly, consent for capital ordinance amendment. Amy is here to speak on that. If anybody have any additional questions, but you saw it on your menu, in your package there. So with that, I will, I guess the consent of the board on the consent agenda?
So move.
To approve? So I got a motion to approve, second?
Second.
All right, I think second there. No further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. Thank you very much, appreciate that. And now it's the opportunity for the public to be heard. Did anybody sign up, Christine? Do I have anybody down there that signed up at all? Is that Sean? Okay, you can just leave it up there. Okay, we got one speaker, Sean Cole, I think a candidate for North Carolina Superior Court. 3 minutes, I kind of hold everybody pretty strict to that. So if you don't mind, let's stick with 3 minutes, and floor is yours. So thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Sneed, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, I think I got to meet everybody. My name's Sean Cole, and I am running for Superior Court here in Wake County. Most of Rolesville is part of my district. It's District 10C. Those are precincts 1909, 1918, 19, 20, and 21. I think that's all the precincts that are part of that district. It's funny you told me to stick to 3 minutes. You apparently could sense that I like to talk. I wanted to come out just to introduce myself. We were out here canvassing last week. My wife and I were doing some canvassing. I am a Democrat. I am a native of the state of Virginia. Grew up in the mountains and the coal fields. I'm the child of a family of public school teachers. Graduated from Wake Forest University School of Law in 1997. Have practiced law in Raleigh since 1997. Worked for big firms, small firms. I've done a variety of things, a lot of personal injury work, commercial work, surety work, and insurance and family law. So I have a pretty wide area of experience and expertise. I just wanted to, again, introduce myself and let you know that one of the reasons that I'm running is I feel like we need judges who are transparent and who will let people know what's going on during the matters, who will listen to the people that come before the court, people who are going to give the parties a fair shake. And that's what I hope to bring to our courts today. I don't want the courts to ever be a rubber stamp for what goes on from either other branch of government. And at a time like this, when so many people are talking about problems with our election process, problems with the government, if there's two things that people should be able to look to, it's their faith and their government. And so I hope that I can be a voice for that in the courts. I've given out some of our literature. My website is SeanCole4SuperiorCourt.com. We have a Facebook page too. If anyone has any questions, I invite you to go there. I do have to go because I have another meeting. I have another event right now back in Raleigh, but I didn't want to miss this, and I wanted to say hello to you all again. Please feel free to contact me through the website. Those emails come to me, not to my campaign manager. I respond to all of them personally. So thank you all, and I wanted to thank you all as well for being here to serve, because that's the one thing every public servant should have, and that's a heart to serve the community, not to serve themselves. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out, Ms. Cole. Appreciate that. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to do some board reports. First member, Commissioner Austin and Veterans, anything to report on your behalf?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor Curran, Mayor Pro Tem Sneed, Board of Commissioners, town staff, as well as our beloved citizens of Rolesville. October 8th, 2024, Veterans Report, I read as follows. October 13th, celebrate the United States Navy birthday, but I still tell my son, go Army, beat Navy. October 26th, National Day of the Deployed. This honors all service members of all branches that have been deployed. The Joel Fund, who is coming to town and serves as our Veteran Center, is starting their fall operation art session starting on 7 October through 15 November. The Joel Fund is pleased to invite everyone to attend the groundbreaking ceremony, which is going to be called the Joel Center, scheduled for Wednesday, October 30th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. They will gather on the front lawn of 115 West Young Street. Following the ceremony will be refreshments and tours of the land. Please go to their website to reserve by October 25th. The Joel Fund is also hosting Family Game Night on October 12th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at 822 South White Street in Wake Forest, their current location. They will have free trucks with gaming systems, as well as board games and crafts and face painting for the kids, or some adults if you like that sort of thing. Their hybrid Veterans Coffee Connection will be held on Wednesday, October 30th at 8:30 in the morning at their Wake Forest location. And this information I'm reading can be found on thejoelfund.org. The Winston-Salem Regional Office, they held an annual outreach event in Cary at the Herbert C. Young Community Center in 101 Wilkinson Avenue, Cary, North Carolina. It was on September 12th through the 14th. They processed over 150 claims that day to assist veterans and their family members with helping filing claims, as well as integrated into the VA system. Boots on the ground. Want me to inform you that they have been activated again by Governor Roy Cooper himself to assist with Hurricane Helene aftermath. And the Veterans Resource page has been moved and now on the town's main website, so it's easy for them to just one click. Coach C.J. Jones of Grit Boxing and Fitness, he will be here next month to talk about his boxing program for veterans. I learned a lot about him today after sitting down with him and talk about the mental aspect of why he do what he do. And he will introduce us an event that he's hosting at his hometown in Ahoskie on November 9th. But he'll be here himself next month to talk about that. And I told him he has 3 minutes. And Coffee with a Veteran still meets on every third Saturday of each month at Arise, as well as Master Sergeant retired Magnum hosts the men's Bible study every Tuesday of each month, which they should be meeting right now at Arise as well. And that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Good, a lot of good work going on with the veterans. One thing I will echo and mention, we got Veterans Day coming up next month in November.
Yes, sir.
And I know there's a lot of people working to recognize that day. I know Frank and Pam and Carol from the Garden Club been doing it for many, many years, and they continue to do it, so they would appreciate, all the support of people coming out for that. And, but not only them, there's others are participating in Veterans Day activities this year, so put that on the calendar, and we'll meet again before then, but I just want to remind everybody a month ahead of time, really. That's coming up. So thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Long, Public Safety.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and fellow commissioners and board and town staff. I have a short update tonight. Police, Chief, I can't talk tonight. Chief from the police will give his update for PD, but I'll give a quick update on behalf of the fire department. I'm talking with Chief Lawrence. A couple things he wanted to make sure that we share for the citizens of Rolesville. We needed to level set some of our expectations around emergency calls. If you are having an emergency, please do call 911, but there will be a nurse line also now set up, and those nurse lines are to vet out what's urgent and what's critical. The fire department has seen a 50% decrease in their calls, emergency calls, and they're trying to be very much so strategic to how they serve. In regards to ambulances and how they are routed, wanted to share with our citizens the number of citizens that our ambulance in Wake County are serving. Over 1 million people in the county and 60 ambulances for the entire county. So, and they just added 10 last week. So whenever there's a route, and if there is someone that is having a critical emergency, they will, and sometimes are sent based upon a call. They could be en route to an emergency here in Rolesville, and then sent to somewhere more critical, and then the next particular ambulance is sent immediately. But it is contingent upon the criticality of the situation. Just want to share that information in regards to the nursing line, which again is being used to decipher what's true emergencies for Wake County. And Chief Lawrence's feedback is we are here to serve our community. Our priority remains to preserve life and property. So please do call if you have any emergencies. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate you following up. I know a couple of citizens have reached out to me recently because I call it screening the calls. Your 911 calls are being screened. It was at one time just about every call 911 the fire department would respond to it, and now they had a change of policy or plan or something. But if you got a true emergency, a true emergency, make sure the person that you answer that phone, you tell them, say, I need somebody now. I need a fire department, I need an EMS, I need somebody now. I can't wait for somebody to come from Briar Creek or Nightdale. We need someone now. And maybe you won't get screened out, because we've had to make a couple calls because people was getting screened out. Appreciate that. We're going to continue to try to get a public message out to people.
I would agree. And I think, please reiterate, just to reiterate your point, is they will have a nurse line, but again, it's going to be contingent upon how critical you make that situation. So they will try to vet out the harsh from the reality. It is important that you express the criticality of the emergency.
Yeah, but we're going to try to continue to educate on that, because it has been changed. It was different. I was surprised that the fire department wasn't being dispatched, and that was a surprise. I didn't realize that, but that's been a change in policy.
It has.
We need to educate our people on that, so they know what to expect. So thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Senior citizens. Commissioner Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I've mentioned the Senior Network Charity Golf Tournament a few times over the past few months, and I'm happy to report that it was held on September 12th, and we raised over $26,000.
Nice.
I'm proud to state the next step is to purchase a 12-passenger van for the Senior Network, and the tentative van unveiling is scheduled for November 7th right here at Town Hall in the parking lot. Each month, it seems there are more events for the senior community. Many of these events are listed on the senior community page on the town website, and thanks to Commissioner Alston, I believe that's on the main page of the town website now again. One big event this month is on October 22nd, where our own Parks and Rec will shuttle interested seniors to the International Festival at the NC State Fairgrounds. I held our first Senior Advisory Committee meeting with 2 members last month. Still looking for 3 more members. Any Rolesville residents interested in joining the committee, please contact me. At the meeting, we discussed some of the issues affecting our senior community and are exploring ways to bring more services and amenities to our town. This is a process, but we'll keep you updated on our progress. The Merritt Farm project is an age-restricted community that's proposed across 401. That's coming up before the Town Commission at our work session on October 22nd, where we will review their rezoning and annexation request. So we're looking forward to seeing how that progresses. Finally, the town issued a request for proposals for the parcel of land behind Town Hall. At least one of the submissions, and I think it's at least 2, have proposed a senior affordable community. And we'll keep you posted on which proposal is selected. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Commissioner Sneed, Planning Board, any?
All right. We did not have a planning board meeting last month. We will have one on October 28th is the next one. So far, we are having that one. And on November 19th, the housing plan draft will be presented to the board. So we're also thinking about having a joint planning work session with the planning department and the planning board and the staff. So at that meeting, we would like to ask each of you, mayor and commissioners, to each pick a neighborhood in Rolesville or nearby that you would like to know the density and setbacks of as a precursor to our joint work session. Because we're going to be educated at that meeting on some things just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Okay?
Yeah, it's good.
All right? I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. Thank you. So you know you got a homework assignment on this one. So,
So we'll have to message each other so everybody doesn't get the same neighborhood.
right.
Yes.
Okay,
right.
so we have a variety to be educated.
That's right. Good, good. I think that'd be a fun exercise. So,
And I'll get with you to know, get with Meredith to get a date when they'll need that information by.
it'd be good. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then Commissioner Vilga, Parks and Recreation Advisor.
A couple quick updates. We had our last meeting, we discussed the Rolesville Tree Board bylaws, and they were approved. The farm entrance is currently under construction. They are working on the 2025 events being scheduled. Got to get ahead of that because everybody wants stuff to do. And we also have Fall Fun Fest upcoming on October 26th. That's 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there's going to be a tree lighting this year at the ball fields on December 2nd. We have a 14-foot tree we're going to light up and have a little event out of it. So it's going to be a great time. And that's all I have.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, that's true, Paul. I think Parks Department is planning a little different twist on our tree lighting that we used to do in front of a town board meetings. We're actually going to have a little bigger event, it looks like to me.
Yep.
That's going to be just dedicated for that time. So I'll put that on your calendar. December 2nd, you said? That's right. Gotcha.
That Tuesday night for the board meeting?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
So that'll be so to help you remind you of this, the first Sunday in December is the Christmas parade. The first Monday now will be the tree lighting every year.
Oh,
So that way everybody can remember what it is.
very good.
Easy way to remember.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, now we'll get to hear some reports from our town staff, and we're going to start off with Police Department. Chief Simmons, good to have you here tonight. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Mayor Pro Tem, Town Attorney, Town Manager. It's been a little while since I've been up here, so I had this really long PowerPoint presentation from what we've been doing over the last quarter, and I've had to shrink it down a little bit. So from June to September, some of our statistics is we investigated a total of 95 crashes. Of those, the majority of those were investigated on the 401 Lewisburg Road bypass. Predominantly, it was kind of scattered throughout that corridor, but predominantly around Lewisburg Road and East Young and NC 96 highway. There was reported of 76 Part 1 and Part 2 crimes. We had a total of 12,439 total patrol calls for service through that period. That averages out to be about 103 per day and just over 4 per hour.
You said this was June to September?
Yes, ma'am. So we have a slight increase from 2023. So we did conduct a joint saturation patrol with Wake Forest Police Department. This was in September. There were a total of 98 traffic violations, various violations that were written in both jurisdictions, in Wake Forest and in Rolesville. We were partnered with several municipalities. I think Wendell, Zebulon, Knightdale, Wake County Sheriff Department came, and North Carolina State Highway Patrol attended as well.
Is a saturation patrol saturated with police in the area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
That's exactly what it is.
I figured with all those being present. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
ma'am. And we typically try to target areas of concern. So being that we've had numerous wrecks on the bypass, some were for speed, contributing circumstances. So we thought that would be a good place to start. Some community involvement. We had a lot throughout this quarter. Officer Strickland taught there at the Rolesville Charter Academy, and we attended his 5th grade graduation. As we have mentioned several times throughout our reports, we continued handing out the bicycle helmet safety citations in the community. Here's a group photo of our camp kids this year, and we're pictured with Wake County Sheriff Department's Special Support K9. They currently have 2 now. This year, we had a total of 28 campers, which is slightly down from years past, so I'm not sure if it was timing, if we did it a little too early. We do a lot of community events, so we try to space them out. So I don't know if we hit it where there was a track out in certain schools, so that's something that we're going to pay attention to in the coming years. But we have a list of the speakers that came out and some of the demonstrations this year for our camp. We also attended Youngsville Police Department's National Night Out. We got an invitation to come over there with our Fatal Vision goggles and the pedal cart, and I was in attendance, and it was a hit. We had a very long line for several minutes. We had to do a little rotation of officers to give each other a break. So, but everybody in Youngsville thoroughly enjoyed our booth. A few employee accomplishments this year. Sergeant Horton, Officer Russell, completed Credible Leadership Module 2. There are 5 modules in this block, and each of them are 100 hours apiece. So we were glad that they were able to get through that block of training and working towards their leadership, polishing their skills. All sworn staff received Narcan training. As y'all know, as I have spoke on before, one of the highest certificates that you can receive as an officer for training is your Advanced Law Enforcement Certificate. This quarter, Sergeant Horton was presented with his in the bottom left-hand corner. As officers are continuing to work to their advanced, we have the immediate law enforcement certificate. Officers Mazik and Officers Bolin were able to receive that. And then another huge accomplishment is the community policing certificate. There are several blocks of instruction that are up under this one umbrella, one that he has been working on for several years. It has taken him to get into all these classes and take them. I want to say it's around 300 hours or more to complete this certificate.
Is the next step after that one that advanced LEO certificate?
Or
is that a different category?
Different category.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is special to community policing.
Got it. Okay.
And being that we're going to have a community policing officer on board with us early next year, so this will come in handy. Here's a group photo of all the officers who attended. I know y'all have seen some of our social media, hopefully, that this was the first wave of officers that went out west to assist them with some of their needs. Yeah. Pictured are Rolesville Police Department, Wendell Police Department, and Zebulon Police Department. So. I have if it'll, quick video.
and they're off. The Rolesville Police Department, Fire Department, and Public Works left Friday morning at 6:30 to take 3 trailers full of donations to Western North Carolina. The entire area ravaged by Hurricane Helene on September 26th. Entire towns nearly wiped off the map. Hundreds dead, more still missing. After seeing the tragedy, our police department sent out a call for help. Your help. That call answered in donations. Those donations pouring in. The fire and public works departments joined in. After loading up 3 trailers full, the 5-hour drive to Hendersonville began. Our team arrived at the drop-off center just before noon. People were there quickly unloading our donations. However, our mission wasn't done. The National Guard enlisted us to drop off more supplies to a distribution center at North Hendersonville High School. We reloaded our trailers with 10 pallets of MREs, 4 pallets of food, and 8 pallets of water. We dropped the supplies off 15 minutes down the road at the nearby high school. It took us about 30 minutes to unload here, but when it came time to leave, residents began arriving, picking up much-needed supplies to get through their day, thanking us for all our help.
So I'll end with that and just want to, obviously, a couple thank yous to go out. One, to the citizens who have donated. It's been overwhelming. Our office has been very busy. Staff has been busy putting all these items away, but you know, we asked and the citizens answered. They had brought a ton of donations to go out west that'll be much needed in the days and months to come as they work through their problems out there. There's some communities have been told, you know, they may not have power for a couple months or longer. So another thank you to Candace for making the video. The Rolesville Fire Department, Isaac, as soon as I told him that it looked like we were going to have too much donations for our trailer, he didn't hesitate. He received permission. So we appreciate the support from the town administration and you all for allowing us to take these donations out there where it's needed. We have the first wave of officers are back. We have another wave of officers on ground now. They were started off in Hendersonville. They saw that there was another need in Spruce Pines. So they moved over to that community where the police department has power but no water. And they're staying in some barracks there that are it's very limited resources where they are. So since Friday when we left, we have already filled up the trailer again, and we're making another trip out tomorrow with the fire department, and we're going to Spruce Pines this time to drop off the supplies. So we just appreciate y'all's support as we continue to assist our brothers and sisters out west.
Thank you, Chief.
One more question. Are you still collecting supplies? How long will you be collecting supplies? Where can it be dropped off?
Great question. We are still collecting supplies. We'll announce it when we're going to stop, but right now I think there's still a need. So there's 3 drop-off locations, the Rolesville Police Department, our Public Works facility. Address? 805 East Young Street, and the Rolesville Rural Fire Department. You can drop off those 3 locations. If for any reason that they're closed, Paisanos has been nice enough, you know, if it's after hours, Paisanos has been taking donations, and we've been going down to their stores. It's in our same complex, and we'll pick them up and for them. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for the chief? Anybody got anything?
No, sir. Great job, sir.
Is there a list
Yes, ma'am. We published a list.
on the website?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, one last thing, Chief.
Yes, sir.
I know you may know Elon, town of Elon. You know where I'm going with this,
Yes,
probably. I met with the mayor of Elon, Emily Sharp, a couple weeks ago. We was in a meeting, and we've been beating Elon every year for the last 2 years. She was happy to announce we didn't beat her this year. But we both dropped. Elon dropped to 5th, and we dropped to 6th. So, but we're still in the top 10, best in Wake County, all that kind of stuff. But I guess some of these car break-ins. What do you contribute? I guess to
some car break-ins. The high school. You know, we have to, we take a lot of reports around, that surrounds the high school, that there have been times that we have taken more reports at the high school than patrol has for a month. So that, you know, it's a lot of people in a very concentrated area, and so we will get busy down there. So that's what we're chalking it up to. We're working to get
Yeah.
back up there, though.
So if it's at the high school and it's a crime, we actually
Yes, sir.
have to,
We reported on ours, yes, sir.
right. I think Elon University got their own police department, so they don't have to report it probably.
That's possible.
So, because they got a big college, but we got a big high school. But
Yes, sir.
thanks, appreciate all the hard work you guys do. I mean, these numbers, be best in Wake County is not easy thing to do, so appreciate
sir.
all the hard work y'all
Absolutely.
do. I think y'all are recognized for that, so thanks.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
All right, next staff is Public Works, and we got Isaac Pullman, Director, come up and give us some insights on what's happening in Public Works. I know you got some new equipment, some new toys and stuff.
We do. So, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to come give you a brief update on the Public Works Department. I do apologize, it's nowhere near as intriguing as the police departments, but such is life, right? We did have the opportunity to go with the police department last week to Hendersonville to drop off some much-needed supplies. A very successful trip there and back without any trouble. They were very appreciative of our help. We are finally getting settled into the new facility over there, which has been a huge improvement. We are having a access control gate installed in the driveway right now. The gate is there, the controller is there. We're getting ready to run power to it in the next couple of weeks. So it'll be fully operational, a lot more secure and easier for the employees' access, especially if something's needed after hours, something like that. We were able to join up with the Parks and Rec Department. You may have heard about it before, but we've got a GPS robot painting machine now that has been able to replace 2 or 3, sometimes 4 employees when it comes to painting all of our athletic fields, and it just takes one person now with just a touch of a button on a small tablet, and this GPS robot goes out and paints all of our fields for us. So it's allowed us to take those employee resources and send them somewhere else rather than having a bunch of guys tied up painting football fields and soccer fields and such. The street sweeper, if you haven't seen it on the streets lately, it's because it's been broke down. It is currently in South Carolina. We had a mechanic come up and look at it, but he needed to take it to the shop down in South Carolina to have some little more needed repairs than something he could do on site. But we do hope to have it back soon, back out on the streets, cleaning these streets up, get them looking a lot better. We've currently got 2 employees signed up right now to start CDL training next week. That is a 1-month process, a school that they'll have to go through in preparation for the yard waste, which we'll be taking over here in just a couple months. Speaking of yard waste, we have received the knuckle boom truck that we ordered from Joe Johnson Equipment, and waiting for it to have our town logo, decals, and everything put on it and get it looking nice before we take over yard waste here in, very shortly. The leaf truck is still on schedule. We don't have it yet, but it is scheduled to be delivered before the end of the month, and waiting on it from Carolina Industrial Equipment. As far as employees go, we do have 2 open positions right now, which should have been posted on the website today. If not today, they'll be tomorrow, which we hope to have both of those positions filled within just a couple weeks. That way, when we do start the new yard waste program, we should be fully staffed. And that is all we've got going on in the Public Works Department right now.
A lot going on.
Any questions? Yeah, any questions for Isaac?
Yes, sir. Just out of curiosity, like for the street sweeper that's heading down to South Carolina, is that something, a service that is with the warranty of it, that it get hauled down there, or is that something that we have to do?
It's something we'll have to take care of. Unfortunately, we've had it doesn't seem like it, but we have had it long enough now that it's out of warranty as far as that's concerned. But yeah, it is something we'll have to take care of.
I have a question, just being nosy. What other technology or technology advancements could you foresee us using in the future, like the robot that's doing the fields? Have you looked that far in advance, or is that something that's on your radar?
It's definitely on our radar. I don't have anything in mind right now. You know, the GPS painter really shot us up there, and that's
Yeah.
you've been able to. If you haven't seen it work and you'd like to, get with me, because it's a piece of work. It's very interesting to see, you know, that something like that can do what it does. But it is something we look at, especially not having a large department, but we do try to take care of a lot of stuff within the town. I'm constantly looking for equipment that we could purchase that would help us out with a smaller number of employees.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Well, thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that. Thanks,
Thank you,
Lon.
Isaac.
Thank you. Okay, we don't really have any public hearings for tonight. We had one, I think it was postponed or delayed. So we'll go into communications. Town manager, got anything to communicate tonight?
Yes, I feel like I have so many updates for you that I should have made a presentation, but I'll stay here. And so the first thing I wanted to do was, number one, just commend Chief and Isaac for their service here. We know these last few months have been kind of turbulent. On Chief's side, they had a very successful national night out. Had a great turnout, and thank you to the community for attending despite the misty rain, which was actually kind of calming at the end of the day. It never really poured. And then also just want to thank Isaac. He's in one of the departments that we have that's grown the most over the years, and also they're in transition with some staff, and just thank him for his leadership over the last few months. Similar to Asheville, you know, they received a lot of rain. We've also received a lot of rain as well. The month of September, I think we received just north of like 19 inches of rain, and this has been the third wettest summer from July to the end of September in the history of in our area's history. And so I think Candace said it was something over 44 inches of rain this summer. And so that is a credit to Isaac, as they've kind of endured that and continued to work through those wet elements. And, you know, we've seen some delays in some other areas, particularly with the Main Street project as a result of that. But I wanted to just salute them. Also, Parks and Recreation. This past Friday, it was homecoming at the high school, and Parks and Recreation has done a great job with bridging that gap with our high school and with the students over there. They went out and threw out footballs. I've given you a football in front of you. That's what they tossed out into the crowd, and so I look forward to some of the ideas that June has to continue to foster that relationship between us and the high school and reach that population over there. Sorry, computer went to sleep. On the economic development front, one thing that you have in front of you is a copy of the Business View magazine. And in August, the town of Rolesville was featured. Business View magazine reaches over 877,000 subscribers as a news source for executives, entrepreneurs, small business owners, franchises, and anyone else in the current industry trends as far as their best practices. The article focuses on how Rolesville is embracing and planning for the rapid growth and at the same time preserving the small town character that makes it a great place to live. It's a great article, and I just commend Michael for making himself available, and also our partners in economic development at Walbrook and Cobblestone, who contributed to the article as well. And so I wanted to just bring that to your attention. I think I included a link to that in one of my prior emails for you to check out. Earlier, Commissioner Paul had mentioned the affordable housing RFP. So that was posted on September the 16th, and we received 7 proposals. It closed on last Friday. What we'll be doing is bringing that back before you in our next work session. It'll give us the time to go through each one of them, kind of theme it out, and be able to pose some questions to you with regarding that. One thing I wanted you all to think about, to give you some more homework between now and the next work session where we'll chat about it, is are there any specific people as far as the team outside of the Affordable Housing Committee that you would like on the committee to review those proposals? Also, when it comes to the type of housing and some of the ideas, I want you to kind of think in advance, what are some deal breakers or some things we don't want to see? And so I think that when you come into a particular group and you see all these ideas thrown at you, one of the things that's always helpful to ask yourself is, what don't we want to see? And I say limit it to 1 or 2 things, just so you can open yourself up to creativity. But that's one thing to think about, is what you don't want to see. And then lastly, what do you want to see? If needed, we can set up some time to talk with you all in advance of that work session, if some of you are curious. But what we'll work on over the next, hopefully by early next week, middle of next week, to kind of give you something that kind of gives you an overview of it, so you can take a look at those things. But we'll get you those materials well in advance of the conversation so that we can kind of talk through it. And then the next step after that will be to assemble the group to help with the selection process and all that. But we want to make sure that we're engaging you all on that.
When does that RFP close?
That closed on last Friday.
It's closed already?
It already closed, and I think it closed at 5 p.m. And the 7th one came in at like 4 o'clock. And so it's some very good proposals. 2 of them are target senior affordable housing. And we also have had people reach out with just ideas in general, in hopes that they could partner with a developer that we chose as well. So we'll bring that before you.
Would it also be a idea of what type of land should be preserved and location? Ideas?
So this particular RFP is pointed towards the 6.5, 6.8 acres that are adjacent to our town hall. But when it comes to other places, other land, I think that's what you're referring to.
Yes, sir.
I think all of their proposals, they'd be happy to figure out if they could find another place to do that work. And so it kind of goes into the ongoing conversation we'll have, that we've been having with the Affordable Housing Committee, that we presenting the plan in the joint meeting, and that this goes into the whole idea of property and land reservation. And then we also have some homeowners and residents who've been thinking about selling their land to developers that have also reached out on a few different occasions to see if there is a way they could partner. And so the goal is to not just find something that will work for us here, but to kind of use this as an opportunity to create the partnerships and have our network to see if we can kind of cultivate this. That's just a start, but we want to continue brainstorming on those ideas. And so that's a great thought. And it's something we're thinking about when it comes to that. On tomorrow night, I'll be at the fire department. As you all know, we're going through the conversations around unification. We signed the resolution to unify early this year, and so we're going through the formal process of developing the definitive agreement now. But one part, apart from the kind of black and white, quote, political piece, not political, technical, legal piece, that's one side, but the other side is the transition of the firemen into the system. And so I'll be accompanied by a representative from NC Elders, who is the provider of our benefits as a town, and we'll be able to answer any questions they have in regards to the transition of their benefits and just general concerns. And so I'll be there, and I'll be accompanied by Lisa and Elders, and so we're looking forward to having that conversation with them, and I'll gladly report back on that. But we're just looking forward to that. The next thing I wanted to do is that this is related to voting, but it's a non-political request, and that is on the ballot on November the 5th. There is a bond that goes towards Wake County Libraries. There are a series of things that they're going to tackle with this bond money, but one of them is supporting us in establishing our first regional library here in Rolesville. That library is part of our town campus that we're continuing to work on, and it's included in the conversation that we're having with the fire department, police department, all those assessments. But one thing that we would really like for you to do is that irregardless of who you vote for on November 5th, that you vote for the bond. A vote for the bond is a vote for Rolesville, and I wanted to make sure that I reinforce that and share that with you all. I know that you all, as our community leaders, are active in promoting those things, but this particular thing is very much an administrative desire too, and a community need, and I wanted to just echo that. My computer keeps going to sleep. Second, another update, the assistant town manager search. We reposted the job on Monday of last week. It'll be closing on this Friday. We have tweaked some of our marketing for it, doubled down on using LinkedIn, and we received several other applicants. I just want to let anyone who has applied for that job to date know that you're still in consideration. And so that'll be closing this week, and we'll be moving into the review process of the submissions and moving forward with that. We've been intentional on trying to get that assistant town manager position filled, but we prioritize the capital improvements project manager position to get that person onboarded. And so Matt, who's joined our team 2 weeks ago, has been great with us over the last 2 weeks as we continue to tackle our many CIP projects that are in construction. And that is all for my updates. That's my first time having that many, but we've had a few things going on. I guess the last thing I would do, I've been sending you all a weekly update, and I'm open to any feedback you have on that. Just want to make sure that I'm equipping you with the information that you need to answer any questions that you have from the community. One thing I want to also emphasize for the community is that the next work session will be on October the 22nd. We'll be given a comprehensive update on the Main Street project, where it is and what's next. And that'll hopefully answer a lot of the questions that people have technically and just in general around the project. The last several weeks, we've been overcoming a lot of the unknown things that come with CIP projects and opening up the ground with old infrastructure. I'm thankful that we've made it through, made it over a lot of those barriers. And if you've seen outside, there's we're scheduled to open on Friday, North Main Street, going from north to south. It's a partial opening, temporary opening, in the sense that we still need to lower that surface, but we felt it was best to get that traffic flow going. Number one, for the impact on businesses and all these different things as we wait to resolve some of the water line issues that we're working through with the city of Raleigh. And so I'll provide an update on that and a number of other things in 2 weeks. And we're pretty much setting aside that entire work session to bring that before you and bring you what is pretty much a 60% time-wise. We're a little bit 60% through the entire project as a whole, but also an update on the Main Street intersection as well. And so that'll be on the 22nd. As you know, work sessions don't have they don't have public comment, but what we'll do is we'll be providing the contact information for anyone to reach out to provide any questions, and we'll bring all this stuff back to the community, to you all, in the form of an FAQ, so that everyone gets their questions answered regarding it. But there'll be a formal update on the Main Street project as a whole on the 22nd in the October work session.
Who will be our consultants at that session?
We'll have representation from RK&K, which is our project engineer. Stantec, our engineer, they are our construction engineer, and an inspection firm that we've asked to come along beside us to provide capacity. That's RK&K. Stantec will also be present, and I'm trying to confirm Fred Smith and Company for that as well.
And Syntex.
So the project team.
Syntex was our main engineering firm.
Yeah, Stantec is our primary engineering firm, yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Anything else? Any questions for Eric? Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks. All right, town attorney. I know you got a closed session you're asking for. Is there anything, any public report you need to do?
In addition to the closed session, just wanted to bring to your attention for a future meeting, we are going to be bringing forward, the manager and I will be bringing forward some amendments, proposed amendments to the town code. Recent developments, not the least of which having the appointment of an interim town clerk, have caused us to go back to the town's town code, which often is not a focus in a fast-growing town where we focus more on our comp plan and our LDO. But the town code hasn't been looked at since 1989 in its totality. And among other duties that Christina was probably not aware of before she stepped into the interim spot, and neither is Amy Stevens, and that is that the town clerk is the finance officer for the town of Rolesville per our town code. And that is one of a few items that need to be addressed soon. In 1989, this was a small community. We didn't have things like a finance officer or an HR department or many other things that we take for granted now. And so it's about that time. And other than that, just the closed session.
How long would that activity take, you think?
At this point, I am not proposing to take a comprehensive replacement to the town code, really just with some technical amendments to remove the problems, things like administration sections, updating the impact fee section, and perhaps in a work session considering a fee in lieu ordinance of some sort.
Great. Okay.
Did you say when that's coming, in the months to come?
It will be on an agenda as worked out with the manager, as I am just the town attorney.
Got it.
But yeah, we'll take a look at a future agenda, and it likely will first appear in a work session.
Are there other policies that have come up in this change that recently? Never mind. I'll ask later.
Oh, I recommend to everyone to take a look at the town code. It is a wonderful look back into the town's history. I mean, think of how many times we amend our zoning ordinance, our UDO, and our LDO. We've gone through at least 3 or 4 ordinances, complete ordinances, since the town code, of which our town clerk is the supervisor, has been given a strong look. So it's a quirky look back into, prohibitions on things. I think at one point there might have been a prohibition of pool halls, and it might have been in the town code before we even had a zoning ordinance.
Yeah,
That's
that
all
would
I
be
have.
more like in the planning department now than town code.
That's right. But at that time, those things were mixed together. But there have been amendments to the town code when we needed them. The planning board has been changed drastically because of 160D, but we didn't have to go into the other areas. We've changed our law enforcement provisions extensively since 1989.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Very good. Okay. Any other questions? No, sir. Okay, town board, any reports, anything you want to do communication-wise? We'll start down this end.
No, good.
Very good.
No, sir.
Anything down on this end? All right, I will close by saying we got a web podcast Thursday night, and the two guests on there will be one, Tony Kenyon. Some of y'all know Tony Kenyon, which is she's our District 1 representative to the Wake County Board of Commissioners for Libraries, and we're going to be talking about the bond. You just mentioned about the importance of that and about how it plays into Rolesville and the needs for it. So she's got a lot of good information to share on that. And then the other one I mentioned earlier was Felicia Hatcher with Pretty in Pink organization, nonprofit organization that supports women's breast cancer. A lot going on. Appreciate the update. Good job there. A lot going on in the town. Mentioned we got the veterans coming up. Also, we got the Fall Fest coming up, which I know the Parks Department put a lot of work in that. So if you hear the last weekend in October, I believe, if you hear in the last weekend in October, that's always a good event, always well-attended. With the rain that we've had, it could rain that day, but I hope not. I hope it's a pretty day and we can finish up strong with that. But there's a lot of things going on, so just stay in tune. If you haven't signed up for our newsletters, I know we're putting a lot more emphasis on those. Candace is putting that together and getting it out and putting a lot of information on there. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, be sure you sign up for that, because that will keep you informed. A whole lot better information than Facebook. So, so sign up for the newsletter if you would, so you have the right information coming to you. And with that, any other comments? I will entertain a motion for a recess to close session per attorney's needs. We will come back into a public session after that, so we're just going to recess for the time being. Anybody want? You got it?
Yes, sir. I move that the board go into closed session to consult with the town attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege. The board would enter closed session pursuant to Chapter 143, Section 318.11, Alpha 3 of the North Carolina General Statutes. The board expects to receive information from the town attorney regarding Town of Rolesville versus Privet Properties, LLC.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, then we're going to recess into closed session. You're welcome to stay around if you want to when we come back, but we will be in recess for a few minutes. Thank you. All right, everybody can turn your mics back on, but just know we're going back live anytime. You are? Okay, we have come out of our recess. We was in closed session with our attorney on a need for an easement for Main Street to get that project completed and all the streets open back up. We wouldn't have to have this easement requirement. Real quick, Town Manager, you want to kind of describe what we need?
Yes, it's related to the Main Street project along William Street. Due to some changes in the stormwater, the construction limits on the part of DOT, we need to extend the temporary construction easement to another neighboring property on William Street. For the sake of time and in the spirit of expediency, I'm recommending that you authorize a resolution to move forward with the condemnation for the acquisition of the temporary construction easement, with the hopes that we can work something out with the homeowner of that easement in the meantime.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions from the board? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I have a motion. I move the adoption of the resolution before us titled Resolution Authorizing the Condemnation Action of Acquisition of a Temporary Construction Easement for Improvements to the Public Right-of-Way.
Second.
Motion, got a second? Any other discussion? Not hearing it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, board. Appreciate that. I think that concludes all the business for tonight. Just appreciate all the work of the board in keeping things moving. We do want to keep the Main Street project moving for sure. We will have a kind of deep dive, I would call it, next work session. We're going to bring some of our consultants in. It's be an opportunity for the public to be more aware of what's going on, so kind of excited about that. But any other business from the board before we adjourn? Okay. Well, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned without any opposition. So thank you, board. Appreciate it. And we have adjourned the meeting.